look, we got the big boys now. We got some games before we get to the game. I want to go through some of the potential matchups along the way. We could see if it holds up, Roman Plymouth in the second round.
Yes, this is the ghetto.
Very good possibility, Del Greco.
Yes, very good possibility.
It's more than likely that we will see Roman Catholic face the nationally ranked Plymouth White Marsh Colorados, who were just defeated in the District 1 Finals by Abington.
Now here's my question. I think Abington really benefited from Chuck taking them boys down to see Bowl and playing that level of competition. And so they had gotten it all out of their system. Whereas Plymouth played a lot of the top local teams, but they haven't just really been physically outclassed in no game this year.
Honestly, I mean, that's my home school district. That's where I live. I don't think Jimmy knew this team was going to be this good.
I agree with you.
I don't think Jimmy down because Jimmy normally last year they went away to a tournament. They went away to a tournament in Atlanta. They played Dwight Howard's high school last year. They normally go away for something every year.
Yeah.
But I think Jimmy knew he was going to be good. But I don't think he knew he was going to be this good. And
so with everything on the line against Roman, how does it play out? Given that they haven't,
I'm just not sure how focused. I think Roman would be up for that game. Don't get me wrong. If they get by Penn Ridge. But I've also seen Roman lose to teams like Penn Ridge in the first round of the state.
Well, Nelson, you and I just talked about that on the way over here.
I don't know how focused these guys are.
And Sean Yoder.
And Tyrese Lewis.
But I don't even think it's about them. It's not about them. It's about Roman and their psyche.
No doubt.
And I feel for Matt because Matt really has a tough job getting these guys back ready to play. And I think some of those guys are already on to AAU. They already got their mind on AAU.
Well, if they do, then they're going to lose.
To Penn Ridge.
They have a chance. I mean, I'm not saying
Penn Ridge has a Division I point guard.
Yes, they do. They have a Division I point guard who already has an offer from High Point. So Sean Yoder could play. Sean Yoder is one of the best point guards in the suburbs right now. And he's 6'3" and he's physical. So it's not going to be an easy night for Lynn by any stretch of the imagination. John Post, his father was a 7-footer. I think he played for Temple?
I think so.
But he's about 6'5", 6'6". Tyrese Lewis is 6'5", 6'6". So they're not going to be overwhelmed with the size. Penn Ridge already went up to Reading and beat the defending champions on Reading's floor. So it's not like they're going to be scared to play Roman Catholic. Now, that being said, Roman plays their best game, Penn Ridge play their best game, Roman wins. But like Amaro's saying, are they focused? If you're not focused on any game, any given day, you can lose.
If you are focused on Roman Catholic is known as the Four Horsemen with the arrival of Hakeem Hart. This has been one of the most exciting teams that this announcer has certainly seen. Lynn Greer, Hakeem Hart, Alan Bertrand headed to Towson State, and Seth Lundy could be one of the best enforcers in the entire Catholic League. I'm looking forward to seeing what Roman could do. But as Amaro was mentioning, years ago, losing to a team like Norristown.
Well,
this team has lost to many different.
Slow down, boys. A team like that Norristown team was a good team.
Yes.
Oh, I'm just saying.
They had a Division II All-American, Division II All-American on that team.
Yes.
That played at Kutztown.
But
they lost to CB South the year before.
Yes.
Or not the year before, a couple years before. Malik Wayne's, I think, senior year.
But we're talking about focus, though. We're talking about
here's where the focus lies at. You give up 86 points to Lincoln last week. I was more disappointed with that than anything because they just played in a dogfight with Bonner a couple days before where the game was in the 40s and 50s.
86 is a lot of high school points.
That's a lot of points to a Lincoln team that hasn't been the most crisp of teams this year.
But
I've seen Lincoln. No, I didn't say they weren't. They have talent. But I've seen Lincoln play about 3 or 4 times this year. They're not the most crisp of teams to where they're scoring, to where they should be scoring 86 points on Rome. That
I was
just shouldn't
surprised.
happen.
I was surprised.
That's not supposed to happen. I'm not saying that Lincoln can't beat them on a given day because they can. They have the talent to do it. But there's no way in the world that team should score 86 points on a Roman team in March. That's my biggest issue. It's March.
What about this matchup? Eric Dixon, Ed Croswell, round 2.
Listen, that's the one I was talking to the voice about this. Abington does not have a cakewalk. Abington.
Who you like that night in that matchup?
I'll say this. I'll say this.
I'll go with
Abington has some serious demons in the state tournament.
Yes, they do.
They won the districts last year, lost in the first round of the states. So they've gotten a little fat too after they've won in a couple of seasons. And
you're right.
They've been really, really, really underwhelming in state play. And I know that Coach Grassley really wants to get over that hump. I know he does. But by beating PW, he might have set himself up for an even tougher road.
I think he did. I
happened to
think he
see
did.
St. Joe Prep. St. Joe Prep was the one team I thought that could beat PW because of style of play, because of the shooters. Excuse me. I thought they could give PW a really, really tough game. It'd be a really tough out for PW. I think actually Roman is an easier matchup for PW than Prep is, and I think
it'll be one of the biggest games in the 6A with Eric Dixon versus Ed Croswell. Not to mention Darius.
Who wins that matchup?
Well, that's really the question because I think
I'm talking about the individual matchup. Who you like? Because I like the way Ed likes to lean on you.
I'm going with Eric Dixon.
I'm going with as am I. Ed Croswell is a phenomenal athlete. He'll do a lot well for John Gini at LaSalle, but I got to go with a guy who a lot of people are saying already has the body structure of an NBA player. I'm going with Eric Dixon in this matchup.
Well, see, here's the thing, though. Eric Dixon got to play defense in that game.
Yes, he does.
He can't take no plays off in that particular game.
He finishes
see what happened.
contact.
See, one thing that people are failing to mention about what happened on Saturday in the PW game. PW's guards in the third quarter let Eric off the hook. By them forgetting about the big fella being out there, and by them putting their head down and going and trying to get to the basket and trying to get, it was a run. Abington went on a run. But they were trying to get it back all in one play, back to back to back to back, and the big guy was just running up and down the floor, not touching the ball.
He didn't touch
and
the ball.
And in the first
all
half, he was
quarter.
dominant.
Yeah.
He was dominant. He was dominant. But here's the thing, St. Joe Prep sometimes this year's been known to forget about Ed too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but I think that if they want to win, they got to put pressure on Eric too. They got to dump that ball inside to Big Ed and make Eric work.
Make him work
because Eric can't stop Ed either.
That's the point I made. I've seen Ed finish through a lot of. He seems to thrive on bumping and grinding and
Eric's a little taller and a little longer. I mean, Ed is a little taller and a little bit longer than Eric.
Yes, and that gives Eric some problems too. The length.
Ed has a 7-footer's wingspan. Both of them do actually. They both have close to 7-footer's wingspan. But Ed can make Eric really work on both ends of the floor, and that's what would make that game really interesting.
Well, you know what makes it even more interesting is this. One of the things that we haven't talked about with St. Joe's Prep, Speedy Morse. Speedy Morse is, college coach, Catholic League champion. None of this is going to faze him. And, when you do have an Ed Croswell and you have Cannell and you have Thompson and you have, those type players, that's one team that can match Abington's big three.
what's the little white kid's name? Wall or something? That kid pretty good.
The last time Speedy got into the state tournament was 2000.
Was that with Astoria?
2013. They went to the state semi before losing to Chester and Rondé Jefferson.
They have Astoria and
Miles Overton.
Yes.
And Chris Clover.
Once again, for the second time now, St. Joe's Prep has two guards, just like they did with Astoria and Overton, with over 1,000 points.
I know, but
those
guards weren't quite.
That year they had 3 guards.
No, I understand. I understand we're not. No, we're not. I understand we're not. We're not doing a comparison. We're just talking about what does St. Joe's Prep have now that what they had the last time they went to
I remember seeing a really good game in that state tournament in 2013 between Prep and Coachville.
But there's a
That was
lot
in
of
the
other good
quarterfinals.
talent that's out there in 6A, and when you really look at this schedule, Drew Freiberg and State College, District 6, how far they'll get, I don't know, add the runners
they're
up from
good.
last year.
State College is
Pine
good.
Richland, who lost to Reading a season ago. Reading is also still out there once again, district
Pine
champions again. Pine Richland has the AAU guys from PK Flash, including probably
They're the
one
quarterback.
including their talented quarterback Phil Jerkovich headed to Notre Dame. I'm interested to see 6A. I can't call who's going to go to the finals because I think there could be quite a few upsets.
Well, can you call the second round game if it plays out Coatesville and Lincoln?
Coatesville?
I'll tell you this. Hempfield they're not a bad team. They have Ryan Moffitt. He's a pretty good player.
And they're pretty much playing Coachville at home, too.
Yeah, so that is not a given for Coatesville. If Coatesville gets past that, I think Lincoln's just. I actually think Lincoln's a little too big for them. They're long. So, I mean,
I think Coachville beats Lincoln. I really do.
Yeah, I got to go with
If they get
Coatesville.
past the
But
first game.
Yes.
but Lincoln got good experience last year in the state tournament. They won 2 games last year in the state tournament.
yes, they did.
But I think Coatesville, has a little bit better team than Lincoln does. Lincoln is big, and Lincoln goes 11 deep. But I just think that Coatesville will be ready for them. I think they'll play. This is a big time for Coatesville.
Well,
Coatesville
they suffered
is
a big
21.
upset, if I
Wait a
remember
minute,
correctly.
Jake.
I'm
Wait a minute,
I'm
Jake.
sorry.
Coatesville's 21-5, but they haven't had a signature win yet this year. But they did beat Lower Marion, so I shouldn't say that. They did beat Lower Marion, but I think this is a time where Coatesville could really break out and then use that to catapult into next year.
Well, one thing that my man always, I think Phil Martelli actually said it. You are what your record says you are, right? And if you don't have a big time win or a signature win now, I'm pretty sure this ain't the place to get it. And Coatesville, they went and they lost at CB West. And I'm not taking nothing away from CB West, but
That's a tough game though. At CB West, you got to travel from Chester County all the way to the middle of nowhere in Bucks County. That's not an easy game. And when I saw that the game was being played, CB West was the favorite to win that game.
Well,
At
yeah.
home, they were the favorite.
Of course.
Now, if that game's on a neutral floor, I'm picking Coatesville. But at CB West, that just wasn't an easy game to play.
Well, don't you think Lincoln will be in South Philly?
No, that game won't be in South Philly. That game will be equal distance somewhere in the second round. First round games are the only ones that are played closer to the higher seed. That'll be equal distance somewhere. That game probably will be like Norristown, maybe White Marsh, maybe Upper Delaware.
Showing up now,